Martin Hood on is my name. Having a hood on is my game. Rolling boxes, I've got more than 3. Rolling boxes surrounded me. Use the dice that match and figures too, because rolling boxes are for you. God, the singing on this channel gets worse every week. Hankerin Fernail, Drunken's&Dragons, right now we're back in effect. Woo! How to play D&D like a badass, that's what we do around here, like a grown-ass man or woman. Welcome back, everybody. What a weekend that was. So for those of you who showed up on Thursday, like, where's Hankerin? Let's talk about making stories, and let's do it in an accent. Sorry I didn't show up, but I'll tell you what, every once in a while, the good times, they just get the best of you. And before you know it, you're waking up in a construction site with a lemur and a pickled monkey, wondering what the hell happened. I came out of it without a face tattoo, so that's great. So it wasn't that crazy of a night. Boys, welcome back. All that's behind us now. It's time to move forward. It's time to renew our vows. Friday night with the PvE group was absolutely insanely epic. So for those of you who've been following the Facebook feed, which you should be doing, Drunken's&Dragons on Facebook, every Friday when we play, which is every 2 weeks, we throw up a few photos of the game board and stuff, but we had a double dragon encounter. We had the twin dragons. Unbelievably crazy stuff. By the way, rangers are dope. I haven't really talked about rangers on the show at all because we don't have any in our group right now, so I haven't done much with 5th edition rangers, but whoa, those guys are highly powerful mofos. Okay, I'm getting off topic again. I'm in the weeds. Why are we here? We're here because of rolling boxes. I've got more than 3. 5 boxes surrounding me. You can use them to theme your PCs because they're rolling boxes. And they're made of styrene. You guys have seen the rolling boxes. I did Rolling Boxes 2.0, the Game Changer video a while back. So when I did it, I was like, this is only the beginning, because I'm often prone to bravado like that. But it was real, it was true. I actually am making rolling boxes for all my characters, themed to their characters, and with tools that are useful for their characters. Do not have the Dungeon Master's box yet. So that's gonna be the big daddy with the drawers and like all kinds of crazy hidden passages and freaky things to blow people's minds that I honestly have not thought of yet. But that's beside the point, don't worry about that right now. We're talking about player character rolling boxes. Here's a giant sword. So what's up? Well, you guys have seen one of them, and that is this bad boy right here. Boosh. So that is my Duergar Dwarf Fighter rolling box. So if you'll see, I've also, whenever the session starts, when the players come over, I make sure that he's got his little dwarf fighter figure, and then he's Duergar, so he can also go to enlarged state. So I have an enlarged Duergar for him. Now, you're like, this is ridiculous, dude. Where are you getting all the specific minis that match the specific concepts in your game? Amazon, baby! So if you really want that visual feedback and you want everybody to feel what's happening, go to the trouble of getting the minis that match the concepts and match the content. Okay, so this was the first rolling box. It's the simplest one. It's got 4 dice tracking slots and a slot for an inspiration coin. So, oh God. So if you want to see what that's like, you track your hit points right here, and then when Boot Myron is our Duergar warrior. When he enlarges, he rolls a d8 for how long he can stay enlarged, and he tracks that right there in that slot. And then, whoa, hey, good job! You turned the banner of Lork into a giant spear and impaled a dragon with it. Here's your inspiration coin. Whoop, that goes right there in that cool little slot. So that was the prototype. It's also I don't know if I showed this before, but it's got a bunch of slots on the bottom. And in the slots there's a ton of pennies. So this thing has like real weight and girth to it. Girth. That was the prototype. So whoa, cool, man. And everybody's like, man, this is one of the most practical, cool, marketable ideas that you've had, Mr. Fernail. I was like, it's all right. You know, it takes a little. It's not exactly a sustainable business to make these things. Like, these take a lot of love and effort, but really fun to create. So my first thought was, I don't want to make a sustainable business. What I want to make is more cool rolling boxes that are specifically designed and custom built. Okay, so that's the Dwarf fighter box. Now, fighters are really simple, so that one was pretty easy to design. So we're going to go in ascending complexity here. I'm going to have a little sip of this delicious fermented grape juice. Oh, it's so Spanish. It's so much body. It's like listening to the organ, to the kidney in particular. Okay, second box I built was the Druid box. Behold the power of nature. So the Druid box is all themed around like a little grotto, like a little grassy, vine-covered grotto, because Druids are nature people. So I don't know if you can quite see all the cool features. Let me get these dice out of here. Also, Twigs, our Druid, has even added some of her own elements, because she always has rope and a short bow just in case. But anyway, this is the Druid box. Now the Druid box also has, you know, spots for tracking dice. And, you know, go to the trouble of matching your dice colors and your dice sets to your classes. You know, Druids should have green dice, and Rogues should have dark gray dice, and Dwarves should have steel dice, and all that kind of cool stuff. So, anyway, it does have the typical dice tracking slots, so she can track spell effects over time, poisons, hit points, etc. But the coolest feature, I don't know if you can see it, I hope you can. Hey, it's HD, right? There are 3 little round sockets. Yeah, there you can see them on this side of the rolling box. Now those little sockets are slightly larger than your average mini base. So she has 3 slots for animal form minis. Now, if you guys have played a Druid, you know that when you change form, like I'm going to change into my Panther form, because it's totally badass, for starters. Go all Guinevere on that ass. Booyah, Grandma! Anyway, when you do it and you don't get the visual feedback in the game, sometimes it can feel like, am I really a Panther, or am I just like a Druid with different stats now? Like, this is a little weak. But if you have the mini built into your box right here, take the animal form out, put your human form back in the little slot, man, you can really feel the presence and the potency of changing form. And then you change back, and then you go back in there. Then let's say you see a new animal and you want to replace your goat form with, you know, this slightly less impressive goat. Then you can do that, and then you get that visual feedback instead of having to look at your sheet and be like, okay, what animals can I turn into? Like, that's no fun, that's not badass. This is the badass way to play a Druid. So it's also cool because it's just got little bushes and stuff coming out the woodwork. Also, the first night that Twigs busted out the Druid rolling box, she rolled more 20s than probably the entire campaign before that combined. So she totally sold on this crap. Now, again, this uses the same, you know, foam sculpture techniques. So how do you get it to look clean and look well executed? It's all about how you mill your foam. So don't just cut your foam or grind your foam into shape or break it and stuff. Like, the key is to mill it. And what I mean by milling is either use a large knife, table saw, or something like that to get nicely milled pieces. If you're working with well-milled pieces like long extrusions, cubes, stuff like that, you'll get these really nice, smooth, sort of isometric surfaces, so that the dice roll well without a bunch of suspense rolls or goofiness. And also, like, minis will stand anywhere on the box comfortably, so if more things happen than you anticipated, where they're setting dice all over the place, they have plenty of little flat surfaces that are well milled to work with. Okay, so that is the Druid box right there. Booyah! So that was the second box that I made. First 2 I made, I think, in 2 nights. I just didn't sleep, and then I like caught a cold because I was up all night, because, you know, that's how cruel life is when you get all old. It's like if you stay up 2 nights in a row, you catch a cold. There's something wrong right here. Black Raven, baby, bounce with me, bounce. Anyway, okay, I'm getting distracted. The next box that I made was the Rogue box. So this one I had a little bit of a mental block on, like, I don't really play rogues. I don't relate to rogues that much, so I had to kind of dig deep. So exactly what tools does a rogue need to have his rolling box feel dope? Well, first of all, I wanted it to feel like a dungeon, like a dark, spiky, dangerous place. That to me is classic rogue zone. So it's covered in silver spikes, and as you can see here, he's got a cool like dungeon sewer entrance on both the back and in the sides, just to make it awesome, so that like when the light is just right, when we're gaming, he gets a beam of light coming through his box like down in a prison or a dungeon. Lots of pointy spiky things, and then gems on the side, you know, to indicate sort of treasury behavior. Then here's his inspiration slot, is really exaggerated to make that coin look good. And then I got the usual, so he has his tracking slots, track hit points and other effects, poisons, and so forth. And then I made what may be awesome and may not be terribly useful, but is certainly cool, which is these little arrows. So look at these little quivers right here. They actually have like a ton of little tiny arrows in them. So yeah, I have OCD and I'm really weird, but there's a teeny little arrow. But the idea was that for each one of these, maybe they would represent like 10 arrows, and then he would put it in the empty pocket so that he could have a visual way to track arrow inventory. He's a very archery intensive rogue. Not so sure that worked out. He's got a lot of different kinds of arrows that he tracks, and it's a little more complex than I think. But everybody loves the little quivers. They're really cool. Then finally, I have a slot right here, which you'll see, and then I have an invisible rogue mini. So anytime that he goes into stealth, when he is undetected, he can swap his mini out with this little clear mini. So we still know exactly where he is, but everybody can remember he's currently not visible. And this is very important for how other players work with the rogue tactically. So a lot of times a rogue will accidentally become a ranger or a fighter because they're just another person out on the field doing damage. But the rogues are the coolest when you remember, oh yeah, nobody knows where he is. And that can be visually difficult on the board when the same mini is representing the rogue. So this way, he goes invisible, he puts out his invisible mini, puts his normal mini back here in the slot, and everybody knows, yo, I'm stealthed out, don't give me away, don't like walk up to me and hand me a potion, because that would be awkward. Okay, so this is great. Also put these little panels, which you can see there's 4 silver panels, and they're slightly raised. They're like raised by 1/4 of an inch. Our rogue is notorious for doing dice parkour. Now, I don't know if you guys know what dice parkour is, but in our group, dice parkour is when you bounce dice and they land in crazy places and stick there, and it's just dope. So I made him these little platforms. Now, they may not seem like much, but any of you out there who have rolled on uneven surfaces knows that adds a lot of motion to your dice. So he got a set of these Black Death dice that are really hard to read, but totally fit the black DPS kind of motif. And they parkour all over this board. They land in the sockets, they like land up here and stuff. It's totally awesome, and that part of the box worked really well. And I think just overall, you get this real feeling of like, dark rogue. Okay, so that's the rogue box. Rogue? I mean, come on, no, a dwogue? A rorf? I don't think so, bro. All right, brogue. What's up, brogue? Nux, brogue. All right. Not last or least. So that's the 4th box that I created, is the Cleric box. So get some of our little parts and pieces out of here. So as you guys probably know just from me talking about it, our Cleric is an elf named Florian Evermoon, who plays the character in a very like highbrow kind of way, you know, a very "have at thee, heathen" is like one of his signature lines. He's very like upfront. On Friday night he dared to call a dragon a lizard, and so drew appropriate aggro, and so on and so forth. Does a great job playing the persona of a cleric without getting so paladin on you that you just want to kill him. So I made him this cool, what I would consider like a good guy fortress rolling box. So it's a white stone fortress. Now this one is all about the milling. So getting all these stones to be smoothly and symmetrically and without a lot of breakage and crumble to be crafted with real control was a bit of a task. It turned out really good. There's some, as you can see, it's got tiny little castle interior. There's little staircases and stuff inside there. And then the best feature is that in our game, we do have like a sort of a cleric overclocking rule. So if he overclocks and presses the gods for too many blessings, he'll lose their blessings, and we have like a scorn table that we roll on, which is where the gods turn away from him, and sometimes they turn away from him for a few days where he can't cast. And so he has this awesome giant sword totem that is removable. So when he is not blessed, there's no sword. And why would you dedicate so much visual space to this concept? It's because it's very, once again, forgetting is the plague of the player. So it's very easy to forget, like, oh, don't worry, let's go into battle, Florian will heal us up. Well, he happens to be scorned that day, so he's actually just a fighter. There's no healing coming except from heal pods, and you can forget. So what we wanted is a very large visual marker that would say, I am currently blessed by the gods. I wield their power and I can heal you and do other crazy things because I'm 5th level. Or, I've overclocked my power and they have taken it away. And that way, just at a glance at the game board, all the other players know, oh man, Florian is in scorn mode right now. Like, let's be conservative, let's use potions and stuff like that. So, boop, there it is. So you get the cool giant sword as a symbol of the blessing of the gods. So this is a neat one, and it's got a lot of nice carving on the inside. And so, I mean, I don't know if you guys can see this, but hey, this is why you're gonna make your own at home, or maybe someday I'll start like manufacturing these for people. A lot of people have been asking me if I'm gonna make a ton of them. Can they buy them? Like, can I make a custom one? That would be super dope. I'm trying to figure that out. I am currently employed, remember. So if I was to try to do this on a larger scale, all hell would break loose. Those of you who've been following on Facebook know that I recently posted the Wizard's Tome has finally been unearthed. Well, what the hell are you talking about, Hankerin? You mean like that new Conan anthology? Has all the old comic books in one big old book? No, I don't, but that is an awesome book. I'm talking about the Wizard's Tome. Brogue. So that is the Wizard's roll box. Now, having played a fire wizard in a campaign a couple years ago named Ivan the Astounding, I knew the difficulties, especially, I think he had got him to 4th level, tracking a lot of spells. What did I remember? What have I burned? What are the stats? I'm always looking them up. All this stuff. So I knew the trials and tribulations of running a mid to high level wizard. So I went into the rolling box knowing what I wanted to do, which was to make a wizard's book. Because it is the center of the wizard's power and the wizard's mindset, and like what he focuses on is building that book. And I knew that part. I had the vision, but I built it one time and the hinging was all frackled and it wouldn't sit flat, and I mucked it all up. And I do terribly building things twice. Like the first time I'm just inspired, I'm going, I'm in the zone, I'm all serial killer freaked out, OCD, staying up late, getting it done. But the second time I have to do a thing, oh God, I'm so slow and lazy. So it took me a while, but I finally got the creative break and figured some of the craftsmanship out to make this function properly. But very proud to reveal now the Wizard's Tome. So this is how it stores, or how it rolls around in closed form. So you can see it's kind of got this crazy sort of, I don't know, it's crazy. So that is its closed form. And then the lid pops open, complete with, yes, it even creaks when it opens. Okay, then on the inside we see the real pay dirt of the wizard's book. So this is the inside of the book. So you can see on one side it's a rolling box. Over here, fully functional rolling box. And then over here I made a spell tracking system on the inside cover. Now what was hard to figure out, and what I'm very proud of, this sucker fits perfectly. It sits really flush and flat so that you can roll on it and life is good. It doesn't move around. It feels really stable. I'm like, ooh, I'm rolling. And after a night of gaming, my magic user, Milo Underbottom, really seemed to be digging the experience of rolling in these. Now, when I'm making these rolling boxes, man, I gotta roll a ton of dice in these things because it is all about feel and bounce and rebound and how do they really function. Okay, so great, Hankerin. Rolling boxes are simple. We've seen a bunch of them. Yeah, they have a hit point tracker slots up top and all that good stuff. But what's this spell tracking system you're all about? Well, anybody who's made a mage of relatively high level knows you wind up with your spells on 3x5 cards. So these are actually the spells that Milo made on Friday night. And this is another great thing. He left them in the box, so they're going to be in his box for him waiting. But these are all the spells that he put together. So these are all that he has learned, not that he can memorize. There's a key difference. So now at the beginning of each game day, he pulls the ones that he has memorized. And if you can see here, there's a wooden pocket right there. And then it is made to fit these guys. So there you go. So you can fit a bunch of 3x5 cards right in that wooden pocket. Not bad, Hankerin. That's pretty cool. Now, as you cast a spell, you bring it from the wooden pocket, and then there's this sweet little bracket right here that will hold your spell 3x5 card. So you can read the effects as you go, and then to go with it, you've got 3 dice tracking slots, which can either track timing, can track number of slots, can track damage, can track all kinds of stuff. And then when this spell is done, put it to the back of your deck, or better yet, just throw it into your sort of discard pile. And the circle of life continues for the wizard. Now this is an awesome creation. It was great to see him using it in a practical fashion, because a lot of it is just like visually super fun. I mean, it's a styrofoam hinge, for crying out loud. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's a huge hinge right here, all made out of styro. And it's all legit. It's mechanically legit. So it opens and becomes perfectly level. And it'll sit that way too. It structurally has these stoppers, which you'll see right there, that stop it in the perfectly flat position. So he can roll up and be like, no, the Tome of Narkuli! Or our most common magic power word is Galifianakis. So it'll be like, the Tome of Galifianakis! Palala palala canalifianakis. Okay. That is the Wizard's Tome, or the Wizard's Rolling Box right there, guys. Very happy to finally present that to you all. And my next project, as far as rolling boxes, is going to be the DM's Rolling Box. So the idea was to make a box that's about twice this size, with a dice drawer underneath, and then a secret little area where I could store minis that are about to be revealed, kind of like a monster on deck, sort of a monster dugout. And then a little area where I can do some concealed rolls in case I want to, because the more complex our game is getting, not ever using a GM screen on occasion can make things a little complex. That's it. Give it a try. Get yourself some styrofoam and like get patient, because these things are a lot harder to make than terrain. You need, you got to use a lot of pieces. There's a lot of gluing, and you want it all to come together in a very flat way. So you want to work on a flat surface. Always cut everything first before you glue anything, or you get all these twisty, weird, silly Pringle-shaped things. So give it a try. I know that one of you out there has already posted me a photo of a homemade rolling box. Totally awesome. Had an inspiration coin slot on top and everything. Coin slot. LOL. Oh, that really dates me. That's like a 90s term, I think. So yeah, keep an eye out. Stay tuned for the DM's Rolling Box. That is going to be an epic one. And probably going to use some 3x5 cards and use all kinds of shenanigans. Maybe even have like a hiding spot for your, you know, the power of the one book. So maybe you could kind of have your book here and your rolling box is here, and it can kind of go for when you don't need it. And then when you need it, it'll pop out, you know, get your thing and be like, oh yeah, what's this? What's this? Oh yeah. Oh, his name is Murgle. Murgle the Ancient. And he has a broken collarbone. That's what makes him interesting as an NPC. Or whatever. Who knows what's going to happen. Thanks for watching, guys. Give me that thumbs up, because there's some kind of form of fulfillment involved in the thumbs up. But the real fulfillment comes in the comments and the discussion. You guys are always continuing to blow my mind with the discussions, give me new ideas, and renew my vigor to keep doing this. That's about it for Rolling Boxes 2.0 Part 2.0. So Strength, Honor, the Mage's Tome. And if you don't know why it happened, aliens, mofo. Aliens. Sukalos!